AI in last mile technology, is this something real or this is only hype? Let's find out. Hello, Christian. Today episode is about elephant in the room. Is it the AI real thing, real something which may help in logistics or last mile technology, or this is just only hype and it will finish very, very soon? For the introduction, I may say that there are a lot of rumors, there are a lot of discussions after, I think, MIT report, which shows that a lot of commercial pilots with implementation of especially large language models failed. From my previous experience, I remember such analytics or big data analytics, for example, on customer churn in CP company when we analyze patterns of churn. We had the situation, initial situation was that we had 40% of the churn. So a lot of every year sales should bring not only new volume, new customers, but 30% more to cover the gap after the churn. And then we analyze patterns, what shows in daily behavior of shippers, what shows potential early signals of churn. And based on such analytics, based on looking for these churn signals from big data analytics, we found there are few of them, and we put information or task into CR systems for Salesforce to react immediately. So if data analytics found one of the pattern of the churn, we put it as a task for sales to contact the customer and make sure that customer is not churning. And based on such patterns, which we found from data analytics, we are able to reduce churn about 10% annually, which is huge. Which is huge. You can imagine the whole company, and 10% of volume is it's really significant. That was one of examples of real return on investments on data analytics, big data analytics, and finding patterns. But still, there are discussions. What do you think about the current implementation level and maturity of AI solutions?
I think that we have enormous possibilities. And I think for me, it's a question about where that you have an idea on where you're looking. You had a specific idea that when you were looking into your churn, that you needed to do something about it. It was a call. And I think that when you have these calls saying, okay, fine, we need to solve a problem and we need to have the attention on it, then I think you will find out that AI is actually quite useful in many aspects. Of course, we in the skip industry, we've seen it implemented in call centers and stuff like that, where we have avatars or whatever to answer us when we call in, and that is some quite good ROIs in these cases. What I find interesting is what we can do also in operation, and I think that we haven't really seen yet the possibilities. I've been working quite a lot on AIs. I would say the last maybe 7-8 years. I think I've been quite dedicated on it. Everything from digital twins to especially computer vision, and I think in computer vision is one of the areas that we should face even more activities on, because it can really help us with a lot of things that we have problems with in our organization. I can give some examples about that.
Oh, please do. I saw in Parcel Postal Expo some solutions on computer vision recognition. I think recognition of damaged parcels and like recognition of addresses, which is fine. And generally, I can imagine that we don't need address at all. We don't need barcodes. We don't need QR codes. If we have data in the system, the photos, we can run the whole operations on that.
Yeah, well, these are of course things which are quite advanced. I would say we are looking into these things. We are not there yet because we can do it in some part of the process, but we need still to make sure that we can end to end on this. When you ditch the label, so to speak, we are not there yet, but we are getting closer. But I think I can give you some of the things that we've been working on, and it can be very simple things that, like if you have a problem with your SLAs with your vendors. We've been having issues in one of our sites where you can say it's a minor issue, but very simple to solve problems instead of having things that go and nag you for a long time. We had, after our singulation, we had problems that that the SLA said that we should have a number of double detections, as we call it, where you have two parcels getting close to each other. When you are working in operation, it's really difficult to have that proof. How are you going to sit and prove it? You can have a sense of it, but you really can't do anything about it. We just installed a camera over the singulation, and then we took a test running 1 hour. We of course ran many hours, but we ran it 1 hour, and then we identified all the times where we could see that there were two parcels instead of one connected after the singulation. That meant that a very huge difference when we had to discuss with our supplier. We just sent them the video and look here's the problem. We could document that very easily instead of having discussions going back and forth for ages. And I think that these are the areas where we can do these identification. It could also be that there needs to be 30 centimeters between all the parcels, otherwise they will fall down in the wrong chute and stuff like that. Yes, but what do? You put a measurement tape up of 30 centimeters in a clear color, and then you can see how many of them where there's not 30 centimeters in between. So you can make things which are quite difficult for your operation very simple. And this is how we use AI today, especially with computer vision, where before I implement anything, I go and visit the local management and say to them today, what is your biggest problem operationally? And they give me a task, and in almost all cases now, with the technology possibilities you have with computer vision, which is an AI training, you can solve this in maybe 14 days. It's not something that you could walk around for years and years and years before and having problems. Now we can solve things very fast. It's just to say that with very small resources, you can actually have solved problems which have been, a daily problem in operation.
Okay, so here is one of the questions which really is interesting. Is it enough to have kind of data lakes? So we put every data into the one place, and AI can take anything what it wants, or just we need to focus much more on the data clarity, data order, and comparison between different sources to really use AI. One thing, AI promise to work on unstructured data, and another thing, we really understand that unstructured data is like garbage in, garbage out. Yes, so do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a mix, because you have still to have some clarity on what is it that you want to solve. If you just put enormous amount of data into it and you don't even know what you're looking for, then you have a problem. I remember I was using this is many years ago. I was doing a project with BM Watson, and we had some data scientists looking at some data, and they didn't really get into what the problem was. But then if you mixed it here with some domain knowledge that actually could tell you what you should look for, then we could in one sprint get some fabulous ideas about. This was about, could we predict if people would be home or not in Copenhagen? And we did that. With a few sprints, we could actually determine that this person would never be home, or would be having a very little chance to be home when we are visiting. And that meant that you had a possibility to change the communication to that customer, saying, instead of saying we're coming with a parcel to you tomorrow, you could say something about, can you confirm that you have a parcel, that you're home tomorrow when we have a parcel, or should we put it into your favorite poodle point or locker, whatever it is. So we have these possibilities to use data if we know what we are talking about, if we know what we are looking for. I think there still is a lot of data which is not really valuable, because we haven't taken the seriousness of the data to us yet. We have tons of data in logistics, a lot of good data, but we need to make sure that we have the metadata. We know how we measure it. We know where we take it from. And there we could actually save ourselves from some big problems. But I think that now with the models that are coming up, even unstructured data is becoming valuable. But it's, again, you have to have a focus on what it is you want to solve.
A very interesting example which you use. I also heard about the UPS also exercises with AI, which show that 2% of addresses create 30% of thieves, parcel thieves, which means that can eliminate or reroute or contact recipients of 2% of addresses and reduce your parcel thief about 30%, which is really great.
We had also a case where they in England, I think it was ASOS, that looked at the return abusers. And they identified also a very few percentage was actually the one that made that a loss-making business instead of a profitable business. So you looked at your churn, you can look at other things based on your data. And I think that this is where you again have to go back and be clear in what is it that you're looking for. And then based on the data that you have aggregated, you start to search, and then have the help of the AI to search much easier than we ever had before.
Yeah, looks like this topic is much wider than our short discussion, and we'll come back to it. I would say that conclusion for it, that there are examples of good usage of AI and identification of some patterns which are useful in the industry, and we should take care about the data. It's not only about AI will not fix the problem with data. Yes. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.